Hi Tubies, here's Alexandra again, and welcome to another video. 2 days ago I made a video about painting leather, and one viewer of you named Adam Fox made a very interesting question, and I was thinking about that for 2 days now straight, and I think it's a really good question. And in this video I will just paint a little bit and talk about his question. So, Adam Fox asked, as always, a very good tutorial, Happy New Year. I was wondering if you could do a video about things a hobbyist might do if they are going through a slump time. I have stuff to paint, I have some extra time with which I'm able to paint, but I'm shaving motivation issues, I guess. Any suggestions? Thanks. So, painting motivation. Yeah, that's a really big point for me quite a lot. There's always the issue of not being able to pick up the brush even if I wanted to. And yeah, getting into the right mood, getting the spark ready, or hitting the inspiration, or being kissed by the muse, however you want to call it. It's a constant struggle for painters or artists all along, whatever their art form may be. So for me especially, there are several ways to fight the painter's block or slump phase. So first thing, number one, is getting inspired. But how to get inspired? Well, I always go on the internet and go on Instagram and watch all the people I'm following, and watching through all kinds of miniatures. Then I go on Cool Mini or Not and watch the miniatures painted there, and try to get inspired this way, so that something might hit my fancy, and I get inspired by that. Other things that might inspire me are movies or series, any kind of outside input that gets me back into the creative spark. A big example for that would be way back on the day before I painted my Space Marine Army, the Wings of Fury. There was this tiny little indie company, I know maybe you have heard of it, Games Workshop, and they produced a movie called Ultramarines, and I know this movie isn't very great, but at the time it came out, it hit the spark with me, and I was instantly motivated to paint a Space Marine army. So even movies can trigger that. So another thing that keeps me from going insane is making YouTube videos. As you can see, I started making videos for the sole purpose for me to paint a little bit more. I saw videos on YouTube of other painters who made tutorials, but most of them were hidden behind paywalls, and I thought to myself, you can do that too, and maybe I can get inspired by teaching others my stuff. And so I started, and for quite some time, 11 years now, it hit the spark for me. So teaching others is, especially for me, and I guess for several of the other YouTube tutorial makers here also a way of hitting their spark. Yeah, and another thing that keeps me going is music. So when I'm sitting down and start painting and I have music in the background, I sometimes regularly zone out and start painting and painting and painting, and the hours go by and I don't even notice it, because I'm in the zone and concentrated on painting, and it's flowing absolutely natural. Then also, while we're talking about getting inspired, well, going on Instagram, for example, the video that I did 2 days ago, the leather video, was inspired by an Instagram post. I saw somebody has painted something leather texture, and I thought to myself, well, I really want to try that out, and it worked nice, and I wanted to show that immediately to the internet, because, well, teaching others is also one of my sparks. I want to teach, I want to give advice to people, because back when I started painting, we didn't have that. We didn't have the internet. It was a time of great danger, and we all fought alone, and only when we came together in the local game store, we could exchange our experiences and fight the great evil plastic. Yeah, and the only sources of new information about painting techniques were in books, hidden away. I remember when I was quite young, I was browsing through a White Dwarf, and there were entries for the Golden Demon painting competition. Back then we didn't had one here in Germany yet, and so I was extremely well, awestruck by all the stuff that the Golden Demon painters have done, and I was thinking to myself, how did they do this? How did they accomplish all these crazy effects on the miniatures? And I studied those pictures, and this is also a thing that kept me going for the years now. When I don't have a tutorial for something, but I think it's looking totally awesome, I just watch at the miniature they produced, and I think to myself, how could they achieve this? How could I achieve this? What do I know to replicate this? And then I grab myself a miniature, standard test miniature, and I start practicing. And that's the way to get really inspired painting. You just have to imagine yourself doing the thing you love, and it will click by itself. It's as simple as that. Just have to do it. Also, another way to get inspired is obviously well, connecting with others. I was often in a total slump, as Adam calls it, and then I walked into the store, and I had my painting supplies with me, and I started painting and talking to other customers there, and we shared our inspiration and our our hobby tips, and that kept me going for another week. And then I came back, and we shared our experiences of trying out the technique that we taught each other, and yeah, well, speaking with others is also a good thing. Well, nowadays, here in the global pandemic, it's quite hard to find others to paint with, but well, you could connect on TeamSpeak or Discord, or go on Reddit and watch the forum posts there and share your stories, or go to a community where people are like-minded. On, for example, my Discord server, there we have work in progress pictures of all kinds of stuff, and people are asking questions, how they could achieve things, and this is also a way to connect to others, to get yourself some input about your work, and how it relates to all kinds of other stuff. You know what I mean. So get yourself out there, talk to other people, and just paint. Then another thing is to overcome a painting slump is if you paint something different. If you're, for example, burned out of painting Space Marines, well, guess what? Stop painting Space Marines. Pick something totally different that you have never touched before. Take a Age of Sigmar Goblin and paint that, or maybe a Star Wars Stormtrooper, or maybe a chibi miniature, or whatever it is that you find interesting and never wanted to paint in the first place. But, well, guess what? Just pick up the brush, paint it, and see for yourself if it will trigger something in you and give you something to connect with other paint jobs. If you only paint one thing over and over and over again, it's sure that you will be burned out by the 50th or 60th miniature of that same kind. So that's the reason why I have so many different projects I'm working on. I have my Stormcast Eternals, even 2 armies of that, especially for that. The Gold Army from the normal Stormcast Eternals, I would say, and then the Sacristan Chamber. I have my Disciples of the Storm in silver and beige cloaks. And then I have my Nighthaunts. I have my new Space Marine chapter. I have my Imperial Knights. And in between I paint all kinds of other miniatures. So there is no coherent thing that I'm always painting. Also Necrons here and there. So I grab myself and pull myself out of my comfort zone constantly. So yeah, to get myself out of the bored zone. So what did we cover? We covered movies, music, talking to people, painting other miniatures, watching miniatures painted on YouTube. Also, yeah, go and watch some tutorials, and then maybe pick up the miniature and follow that tutorial. That's also a way to get motivated. Paint something in a style that you haven't done yet. So, for example, you always paint your miniatures with an airbrush, and then edge highlighting, and then pin washing. Yeah, try something different. Instead, paint the miniature entirely with your brush, without the fancy airbrush method, or other way around. If you only paint with a brush, try it with an airbrush. Or try a totally different style. For example, I have found a really interesting guy who paints his Black Templars in the Blanchitsu style that was inspired by the cover art of the 3rd edition Warhammer 40k rulebook. There's a cover art about Black Templars, and he copied this style exactly to the brushstroke on a miniature. From a 2D piece of art to a 3D miniature. And this looks stunning, and it's totally different than your standard edge highlighted Space Marine. Something like that, a project like that, just painting one miniature could bring you back into the painting spirit, if you know what I mean. So, I hope this covers now some points that can give you some inspiration for your miniatures. Something I always find a really nice quote is when Sean says from Blue Table Painting, "I hope you got your inspiration for today," for his videos. I find that a really nice quote. So, in this sense, I hope I gave you your inspiration for today. Yeah, that's enough for me for now, and we see us in my next video. You're Alexandra.